Hello and welcome to another Block Chat episode. This time we have 113 as the episode. I'm very thrilled about the developments happening at Blocksquare in these past weeks. And today it's a special episode. We have two tech gurus with us. And here we have Viktor and Simon,
Hi guys.
who are, I
Hello,
believe,
hello.
one of the key people in the technology that Blockchain is bringing to the market. Hey, Victor. Hi, Simon. How are you guys doing?
Very good. Happy to be here.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's pleasures on my side as well.
It's been a long time since I've been on the block chat, so
Yes, you guys are mostly on the back office side or in the back, making sure our engineering team delivers quality code. Um, I wanted to start this episode with a bit of history around Blocksquare, because some people that are in our community, since the last year or maybe 2 years, maybe don't know this. But we started Blocksquare back in 2017 as an idea, and then officially started in 2018. Victor and I co-founded the company. Peter joined in, and Simon has been, I think, the first person in our community. And, I'm not overdoing it. He was the first person to join our Telegram group. And he's been with Blocksquare, contributing to Blocksquare ever since. Right, Simon?
Yeah, that's correct. It's been a long journey already.
So what we are doing this week is we're making some key changes in our kind of management board, in our leadership of Blocksquare, of the DAO of the company. And these changes are coming at the right time. So there's a couple of things that happened since Blocksquare was started. Victor, can you tell us a bit of a story, where we started and where we're going?
yeah, of course. So yeah, as you said, Simon was one of the first guys, not only joining the Telegram groups, but also actually then joining the team as well. So, but yeah, how we really started. So there was just an idea, of course, but this idea uh, that we put on paper with Dennis was something that we really believed in, and we were looking on how to, because idea is actually worthless if you don't know how to execute it and how to then navigate this idea all the way to the end product and build a community and believers that something that you're building will truly last. And I know we were thinking of what to do and how to build this idea and how to build a project. And then together we decided, okay, the only way to do it is we really have help from the dev team that is, or the developers that are, I would say, quite experienced and know how things are done in real life and know and have this ability to execute. And this is why we decided then to partner with Medius as a software engineering company that actually at the beginning and actually still up to now has served as one of the core partners within our ecosystem. So the team that developed the initial contracts, the actually all the magic that was done in the background was done by the team of Medius that I am still also involved with, and it was a long journey. We pivoted many times, but on this way, of course, we always knew that Blocksquare one day will be fully independent, and we knew that we need to, of course, grow our own team, our own not just developers, but also everything that is necessary to run a successful business. And of course, now having us, Simon and me, on this call, we'll talk more about the technology, but there are so many factors that are important. But yes, as I said, we were building the team slowly with Medius's help, but also independently, and there were quite many engineers already within our code and within our I would say ecosystem. And Simon was one of the first to join. Maybe Simon will share us a bit of how he started and how we had our first interviews. But where we are now is what I believe is the best and most obvious path forward, where we have, I would say, independent engineers on Blocksquare working, building code, sharing the vision and the passion that Denis and all the team is translating to them. And Medius slowly, not fully yet, but slowly moving away from this journey. But of course, said in a very positive tone in terms of Medius still being there whenever needed, but really understanding that Blocksquare has this ability to execute things by itself now. So
I think here, you pointed out a couple of things, this transition from, essentially without Medius, let's be honest, there would be no Blocksquare, right? Let's just be blunt. Medius took a big chunk of that initial kind of development that was required. And it by being this reliable partner that builds enterprise grade software, you know that the foundation is very solid. And the security is solid. So there's a lot of aspects that fall under Web3, but there's many more as well that fall under just regular software development and practices. And this is something that media has definitely transcended into every line of code that Blocksquare produced so far. At the same time, there was a bit of expertise in Web3 or in, let's say, in blockchain development, in Solidity development within Medius. But there was a big gap because Blocksquare was essentially the only project in blockchain that Medius actually really kind of served long term. And on the other end, Simon was this Web3 wizard. On the other end, very interested in what we were doing. And I remember, those first interviews we had, because we didn't know he was actually an engineer. We just knew he was really, one of the core people in the community, really, supporting the vision. And essentially over time, we became friends, right? And started working together and started trusting each other more and more. And I think this kind of step into inviting Simon, stepping up into becoming kind of taking the title of Co-CTO together with you, it's not something that it's something that happened really naturally over time. And, from my end, I fully trust Simon the same as I fully trust you, Viktor. And it goes beyond just code. It goes beyond that technical knowledge. And I think that's the important part. Simon, how did you see this this journey Blocksquare so far? What's your take on it?
Well, it was definitely a very interesting journey. I remember one of my first interviews with you guys actually, where it was about building the marketplace itself, like the D-app that everyone is using these days. And I remember we did a config-based rotation. I think I said initially like 2 or 3 weeks. And I was good on delivering, and we started to iterate more and more. And out of 2, 3 weeks became like 6 months and then a year. And yeah, I never really left. And that's why I'm here today. Over time, it's been a lot of interesting journey from being the first developer hired externally, except videos, over seeing project managers come. Some had to go, other developers stepping up as project manager, doing an amazing job these days. It's a very interesting journey. The team grew quite a lot, not only on the development side, on all sides. So that's really exciting. Years of challenges on how to do certain things, on the smart contracts, limitations, other infrastructure that needs to be figured out, partnerships along the way. So yeah, it was a very, very interesting journey. Then a while ago, I moved to the head of Web3 officially, took care of everything Web3 related in the development, not so much on the, I would say, traditional Web2 components of our infrastructure. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a very interesting new position. I'm very glad that I am able to fulfill this, and I'm very much looking forward to all the challenges that come with it. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to be on this blockchain.
I think one of the things that became like trying to open up a bit the doors to our community, right? And when you have this collaboration like with Medius, right? Medius is a company built to develop enterprise software with a very clear specification, with a very clear project timeline. It has a start, it has an end, and it has a maintenance period. And then there's maybe a second iteration of the solution, which is maybe a rebuilt from scratch solution, right? And I know that it was, must have been frustrating on the other end, but as well, a learning for Medius, and you can speak from Blocksquare's perspective, Viktor, as well as Medius' perspective, working with a startup as opposed to an enterprise client, right? The way how things are done in a startup versus a project, an enterprise grade project. What would you, in general, kind of have as a comment? There's pros and cons in working with one or the other, but was it very challenging managing this on the media side with the team there? And can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're completely right. It's actually a different mentality of people, right? So usually we're working with enterprises. We're not an agency that would so much support startups. When I talk about media, so that was one of the challenges that we also wanted to face, right? And then to understand the ecosystem and the behavior of such nature of work. But having you, for example, Denis, in the team is I would say you're never fully in ease of what is coming next, right? So in terms of, yeah, we build stuff, but as soon as there's an opportunity, there's a understanding of the market, and I would say the understanding of what really is coming. This is instantly implemented, right? So for the developers within Medius, they need to be fully alert and aware that there will be changes. There will be a lot of changes, and there will be a lot of functionalities that we might not even use, and some that will completely maybe transform the initial ideas, but at the end, with a clear vision of what really is ahead of us. So maybe comparing that to some more traditional enterprises, things are a bit more, in a way, structured. But once they're set, you don't pivot so much away from them, which is in a way can be a positive, but also quite negative thing, because sometimes, of course, you develop something that you already know won't really bring any value, and having this experience of both worlds, I think, is essential also for the team, because they then understand and can behave naturally in both environments. So right now, I would say we are fully capable of serving both I would say ways or both types of clients. But looking at it from a perspective of, for example, having a startup or scale up or leading a more established enterprise, I would say the dynamic of work is really different, and it's of course being always eager and ready and there to change things, to be optimistic, to work on new ideas, and to really think outside the box when it comes to developing new functionalities. And Web3, of course, changing dynamically and with so many new projects coming up, you really need to be alert. And that's, I think, why having Simon as CTO or co-CTO is really, really of important asset, and really, I would say, great, because he's the one that will also have this alternative vision to what we have been doing so far, because of his really deep knowledge of Web3.
And this kind of takes us a bit into what's next, what's going to happen in the next 3 months, 6 months, but before we go into that part, I just wanted, Simon, from the perspective of being part of the the dev team at Blocksquare, right? And looking at some of your colleagues, do you see this? You must have noticed, sometimes the capability of iterating fast or moving faster, taking decisions faster, it's crucial, right? And the decision we've made here goes into actually solving or fixing this situation, right?
I agree. Yeah, I mean the thing is with Web3, and I mean I learned training as a software developer in a very traditional company, only having enterprise clients, and then very early on 2017 I moved full time into Web3. I can say that things in Web3 are definitely a lot different. Not only do we have the startup mentality, I would say, with a lot of companies here, it's also work-wise very different. Like most of the teams are remote. I mean, this is a concept that now a lot of big companies and traditional Web2 companies are establishing more as well. But we had that very early on from Web2. So I would say we are kind of native to managing developers and team members through different time zones, going fast to the market. I mean, Web3 is evolving so quickly. One day you are thinking about how do I fix this problem, or how do I find a solution for it, and like a week later a different company in Web3 comes out and has exactly these tools built for you already. And we had that quite often while we were figuring out for 3-4 months how we could solve a certain problem. At the same time, another company like Alchemy or others, they were building a solution for it already, and we could just pivot toward that. And I think that's the fascinating thing about Web3, and why I think you really need to be quick to action. You need to make decisions fast. In my opinion, you can be like in the enterprise. I mean, we see it with MetaMask and Infura and others. They are run as an enterprise, and that's totally fine. But I think also at the same time, a lot of I would say developers are frustrated with their products. They feel sometimes that improvements or fixes are way too slow implemented, while it could be done a lot faster. And that's because you have the enterprise chain of everything needs to go through the approval process in certain ways. And I think in Web3, we are way more flexible with that. And I think that's where it gets very interesting. We can pivot to the market faster. If we have ideas and can see we can capture the market, if we need to develop a product in 2 months, hey, we can do it. And I think that's the beauty about Web3 and why it's so fascinating to work in that space.
So basically, it's now. Yeah, go ahead. Viktor.
Maybe
Yeah.
just to also add to Simon's comments. I mean, of course, I fully agree, and this is why I also still be here as a voice of reason. If sometimes the ideas are taken or solutions are taken in too quickly, because of course
Exactly.
we already have a lot of clients. we need to be careful of what we deliver and how we serve our solutions and products. And there needs to, of course, still be some balance between going fast and break things, like Zuckerberg's mentality, and also being able to run really robust, secure, and reliable code. So I think now we have both. I mean, best of both worlds, and I think going forward, this will be great.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say. It's like we have this two now, two two heads of technology at Blocksquare that have different views, different experiences, different backgrounds, different types of knowledge, expertise. On the other side, media as well has been very strongly focusing or shifting towards AI, machine learning, and that's definitely something, knowledge that you can't simply acquire by hiring in the market. This is goes much deeper, and having a partner like Medius along the way of wherever this AI story is going to take us in the next year or two is definitely will allow us to implement certain maybe solutions in the future that we're not envisioning right now, but understanding how things work under the hood. So it's not just simply building something on top of an LLM, but it's actually creating something meaningful. And on the other end, having a CTO who knows exactly what's happening in real time in Web3. I think that's important. And on the other end, the whole team under who is waiting for decisions to be made, and these decisions will now be made much faster, with less requirement of research, because the research is already done in real time as we move, right? Both on the traditional Web 2 as well as the Web 3 practices. That being said, I think what's next? Let's talk about what's next. What do you guys plan on doing next in terms of going with Blocksquare? And I'm not talking here about what people see on the front side. I'm talking about what happens under the hood. There's certain things we need to improve, I guess, and then this move has been made just to do that. And here I'm talking about some dependencies we have with Medius, and the whole development lifecycle, for instance.
Well, the first thing was to match our, I would say, polo shirts, right? It's a uniform.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have our uniforms on. I passed it on to Simon. No, but what happened just...
It seems, by the way, it seems like we're sponsored by one company. Yeah.
But what happened just maybe a couple of hours ago, of course, I've also put some additional managerial roles within our repositories to Simon to have the complete view, because we are quite, I would say, strict in regards to who has access to what kind of resources, etc. within the team, not just externally, because I think that's quite crucial and important. And this will translate, of course, all the way to the team, right? So it's on us now to communicate internally within the team regarding Simon's role. We'll have some additional, I would say, discussions, but as you already said, Denis, this came quite naturally, right? So not much will change in terms of the dynamics of how we already worked in a way, right? So both Simon and I were quite involved within the development process. Now Simon will be more autonomous in accepting and I would say taking his own decisions going forward within, I would say, of the line of work that he's on. So not always needing to revert back to me or to Medius when it comes to certain decisions that he wanted to implement within the team. So I think this will be, I would say, an iteration that will improve us or will help us improve in terms of also speed, delivery, and of course being fast on the market, which is crucial in the position where we are today. But maybe Simon, you can also add what you believe will change in the next few weeks, months going forward.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think, as you said, a lot of our developer workflows, they are very good. And I think we use, I would say, all of the industry standards on that. Obviously, what I will do is I will talk to the developers, see what they might want to have changed. You know, sometimes this is the opportunity to change certain things. But I don't expect that much will be changed on that side. Um, I see us more changing a lot on the side of smart contracts. Our DApps are heavily under the work. I mean, we are working on a lot of very interesting improvements, not only on the UI, also behind the scenes, making it more interesting and easier for our partners that use our white label solution. And also, obviously, over the years, we identified certain things that our partners might want. You know, they might want to have the option to change the default fee on transactions that happen on the white label, you know, or this type of things. And we compiled all the feedback over the last years, I would say. We wrote down a big list. We are working on a I would say completely upgraded smart contract system. And yeah, these are some of the type of things that I would say are developing over the next months. Same goes for the new version of Ocean Point with our point system there. So yeah, as said, I don't think much will change on the developer workflow itself. Everything was very natural already before, and it will remain natural. I think it's more about that we can quicker decide on, hey, how do we design certain features in the code or smart contracts or whatever.
Perfect. In that case, Makram always says that let's keep it under or around 30 minutes. But then Makram being Makram, he talks a lot. And we never can. And now we've just proven that if there's 3 people in the block chat, we can do it under 30 minutes. If there's only me and Makram, then, or even just Makram, maybe, you know. But anyways, it was a great conversation. I hope everyone watching enjoyed it. If you're running this as as a podcast, like later on, I know we have a lot of listeners that listen in on at their own time. Is there anything you guys want to say as final words here for this episode? Who wants to go first?
I'll let Viktor go first.
Oh,
All
thank
right.
you. Well, nothing special. The only thing that I really want to say is congratulations, Simon. I wish him a lot of success, and I know that we will understand and collaborate as effectively as we already did, and I'm really looking forward to ongoing collaboration, and that's it. Only progress and hard work. That's it.
From my side, I will keep it short and simple. Thanks for the opportunity, guys. Thanks to the Blocksquare community for everything over the last years. Looking forward to build more together.
Well, with that said, thank you both for taking your valuable time coming on a block chat. Thank you, Simon, for taking on this challenge as well. I think it comes at the right time. And thank you, everyone, for listening in. I hope you enjoyed our discussion as much as I did. And till the next one. Ciao.
I guess.
Bye.